Hello YouTube, this is Neon. Today I'm going to be talking about tips on how to cope with incest. The first tip that I'm going to give is get a book that is called Learning to Heal. Learning to Heal is going to be where some of these tips I'm giving comes from. It is a big book, a very thick book, and it's a phenomenal book filled with important information on how to cope with incest or child sexual abuse in general that may not have been incestuous. Okay. One of the things that I love about this book is at the end they give you profiles of different women who were sexually abused. They tell in their own words how they cope, what psychological, emotional, life effects it's had on their body, or excuse me, it's had in their life, and how they cope with the consequences such as mental illness, emotional illness that is a result of child sexual abuse. Beginning to Heal, or Learning to Heal. But they have a seminar version that I believe is called Beginning to Heal that is also helpful. On top of getting this book, I recommend getting and reading numerous books on incest and surviving incest. The exact way in which an individual heals, well, copes and heals from incest, it can vary. It can vary. So if you get numerous books and you read them, you can say, I like that idea, I'll apply that idea. I don't like these ideas, I won't apply those ideas. And you can begin to pull tools from the best minds out there when it comes to healing from incest, and you can take those tools and incorporate them in your life rather than taking advice from any old average person who will give you their opinion, and it comes from the far reaches of their mind. Whatever pops up in their mind, they're going to throw at you. They're not worthy to be listened to, and it's not sound listening to them. It's better to read books by professionals and then you decide independently on what works for you. It requires work, but just know that you're valuable, you're precious, you are priceless, and you are worth investing in you. So discipline yourself and bring yourself to a point where reading 15 minutes a day is just a habit. You'll know when that amount of time needs to increase, but 15 minutes a day, and begin to pull. And make it a lifetime habit, just like reading, just like eating. We eat every day, even if we live to be 115 years old. Read every day and learn and grow. Now, I'm not talking about just reading on overcoming incest. I'm talking about reading all kinds of books on personal growth, on success, on having a positive mental attitude, on setting goals, on how to do charity work. All of the things that are involved in making you a better person, making you a stronger person, a more successful person. All of this together will play a role in your healing from incest. One of the things that I got from Beginning to Heal was that every person who has suffered from incest or rape, almost everybody, one of the things that's almost it's almost, not completely I'm sure, but it's almost universally common is that they go through a period of 1 to 2 years where they need to talk about it incessantly, non-stop. Give yourself that 1 to 2 years to talk about it. Don't let people shut you up. When they shut you up, they're not going to admit to wanting to shut you up because you make them feel uncomfortable with the truth of the horror of what you've been through. Whatever those reasons are for them feeling uncomfortable, that's why they want to shut you up. They will never admit to trying to shut you up. They will only say, I'm trying to help you get better. I'm trying to help you. But everything that they do only shuts you up. They'll give you cliché, platitude advice, like you need to forgive that person and then you'll heal. You need to stop talking about it. You need to stop thinking about it. There's starving children in Africa. They got it worse than you, so you shouldn't complain. Everything that they say that is supposedly advice is going to be geared to shutting you up. And they're going to only be doing it for your good, and they're never going to admit to shutting you up. So remember, in spite of this, you need to go through 1 year to 2 years of talking about the abuse incessantly. And there will be periods long term where you may need to talk about it incessantly as new memories come to you for days, weeks, or months. That will happen as well. It's as if people talk it into the ground. You need to talk about it with someone who's not giving you advice, not giving you opinion, and it's listening with their ears, not with their mouth. That means that they're not giving you advice. They're listening. They're listening. They're not interrogating you. They're not asking you for a bunch of questions. They're not asking inappropriate questions like, I want to know all the sexual details that they did to you. Did they sodomize you? Asking inappropriate questions is not listening. You should be the one to decide what you want to divulge, what feels comfortable to you. You're going to have to, if you are religious, pray or have faith that the God of your understanding will bring people to you who can listen. Give yourself that 1 to 2 years of talking incessantly about it. Ultimately, you will need to find people that you can go into extreme detail with. It's bringing all this evil out into the light, right? Because everything they did was behind closed doors. Give yourself that 1 to 2 years. When you find someone who's not listening and only listens with their mouth, stop talking to them. But don't let people shut you up completely. Now, there's a group called Survivors of Incest Anonymous, and it is a 12-step group, but they're a good support group where you can talk openly. People are very honest and open and vulnerable and shocking in a lot of the things that they say, but what I went through was shocking, so I certainly could relate. So support groups can be a place if you can't find anyone where you can talk to. Now, some of the people there, if you talk to them one-on-one, they may listen more with their mouth than they do with their ears. But you're more likely to find a decent listener so that you can go through that 1 to 2 years. But the group itself can play a role in going through that 1 to 2 years of talking and talking it out. For me, really quickly, I'm going to say that talking is kind of like when a person writes a book and they have all of these plots and characters, and they kind of wind up taking, I saw a guy do this, I think it was for a screenplay. He took cards and he put them out all over the wall so he could kind of see his plot line and his characters and have everything in his mind. Have everything in his mind displayed before him, and he could kind of keep everything out in front of him and work through the ideas and the plot lines. That's part of what that talking does. It allows you to get all this mess out and be able to look at it and work through it when you have people that know how to listen, and they can show compassion through their facial expression. They can even say, after you're done talking, they can say, I'm so sorry you went through all of this. No innocent child deserves. They can show compassion, but they should not be interrupting constantly, okay? One thing that has been helpful to me in coping with coping with incest has been coming to the realization that I was treated like a masturbation tool. Sometimes I think of it in terms of being treated like an animal or being treated like trash. An innocent child uses a masturbation tool to get someone off. So sometimes just admitting to myself the ugliness of it and really being able to face and confront the ugliness of what I went through. That's part of the talking about it. That's one of the things that all of the 1 to 2 years of incessant talking does, is it empowers us to face and confront the reality of the abuse that we survived. You know, to an extent that's reasonable and sound, getting involved in charity work can be very helpful. There's so many blessings that come from the universe, the God of your understanding, that come from charity. When we give freely unto others and we don't receive anything back in return. And that's of our time, talents, and money. And you need to give of all three. You need to give of all three, not just one or two, okay? Of all three. But as you begin to do that, you will see blessings come into your life. That's something that you can do that helps you to cope with incest. Always knowing that ultimately you're equal to everyone, whether that person is a billionaire, whether that person is an Einstein, whether that person is a supermodel, you're equal to everyone. And charity, knowing that you can help someone who perhaps, maybe not through sexual abuse, perhaps through mental illness or something else, maybe you are in a position to help them in some way. Volunteering, okay? It brings blessings back to your life that you're not going to be able to receive these blessings any other way. That's one thing. And also, just the idea that no matter what you've been through, you can still be helpful to other people is empowering. So, I'm going to stop here. This is the bulk of really what I want to suggest to folks, to you beautiful people who may have survived or been victimized sexually as children. And one thing that I really want to say as well is, know that mothers play a major role in this, and they are almost never prosecuted. Mothers almost always know and allow it to continue to happen. Whether it's the mother who smacked her son because her son said, "Hey, our priest is molesting me," and she, after smacking him, said, "How dare you lie and talk and profane the name of a man of God." Whether it's the mother who smacks the daughter and says, "My boyfriend doesn't want you," or smacks the daughter and says, "Stop lying about your stepfather," right? Because she doesn't want to lose his income. She doesn't want to lose his companionship. She may feel so low that she feels no one else will want her. So she's willing to sacrifice her children. That's the case. I think it's like 75–80% mothers know and allow it to continue to happen. So I'm throwing this out there to say, acknowledge the truth and confront that truth in a way that you think is best, and read and study so that you can make the best decisions, but admit the truth. And for those of us like myself, we need to admit the truth that our mothers played a role and that they should be held accountable and they should pay for the role that they played in allowing it to happen. And what that means is going to vary from person to person. But embracing the truth in all of its ugliness and gaining the strength to cope with it, just like a paraplegic person copes with being paraplegic, or a quadriplegic, and they find tools to cope and a lot of times to thrive. We need to do that. And embracing and facing the truth, learning how to bear the weight of that truth and climb uphill with the weight of that truth is necessary. Best wishes. I love you and I wish you the best. Please like this video, like, subscribe, share, comment commercials, recommend my videos. Do one or more of those things. Thank you.